Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.
Today I want to explain how you can harness creative thinking as discussed in John Maxwell's book, How Successful People Think. No matter who you are or what you're looking to pursue, creativity is pure gold. But despite the importance of thinking with creativity, very few people possess this skill in abundance. Luckily, you can change your way of thinking and become more creative. Creativity is like anything else. You must study it and then work to apply it in your life. And with this being said, I want to go through some characteristics of creative thinkers, go through why you should discover the joy of creative thinking, and finally explain how to discover the joy of creative thinking. So I'm now going to go through the characteristics of creative thinkers. And this is not only for you to gain awareness of what a creative thinker is, but also to assess if you're a creative thinker yourself. First, creative thinkers value ideas. Creativity is all about having ideas, and you must know that you'll only have ideas if you value ideas. The next characteristic is that creative thinkers observe options. They love exploring a multitude of possibilities, and this helps stimulate their imagination, which is crucial to creativity. From here, the next characteristic is creative thinkers embrace ambiguity. They don't feel that they need to stamp out uncertainty, and they see all kinds of inconsistencies and gaps in life, and they often take delight in exploring those gaps, or in using their imagination to fill them in. Then the next characteristic is creative thinkers celebrate the offbeat. Creativity by its very nature often explores off the beaten path and goes against the grain. To foster creativity in yourself or others, you must be able to tolerate a little oddness. From here, the next characteristic is creative thinkers connect the unconnected, and this is because creativity utilizes the ideas of others. So there's immense value in connecting one idea to another, especially seemingly unrelated ideas. And there's a formula for how this roughly works. You first think, and then you collect, and then you create, and then you correct, and then you connect. And the final characteristic is that creative thinkers don't fear failure. Creativity demands the ability to be unafraid of failure because creativity equals failure. It's inevitable when going through the creative process to face failure, so it requires a willingness to look stupid. You must be willing to go out on a limb. And now that we understand the characteristics of a creative thinker, I now want to go through why you should discover the joy of creative thinking. There's 5 specific things that John mentions that I'm about to go through. The first is creative thinking adds value to everything. The second is creative thinking compounds. The third is creative thinking draws people to you and your ideas. The fourth is creative thinking helps you learn more. And finally, the fifth is creative thinking challenges the status quo. And after going through these 5 things, I now want to explain how to discover the joy of creative thinking. The first is to remove creativity killers. These are self-defeating phrases that include I'm not a creative person, follow the rules, don't ask questions, don't be different, stay within the lines, there's only one way, don't be foolish, be practical, be serious, think of your image. That's not logical. We don't have the time. We don't have the money. Failure is final. And there's many others. If you think you have a great idea, don't let anyone, including yourself, talk you out of it. Number 2 is to then think creatively by asking the right questions. These questions include why must it be done this way? What is the root of the problem? What are the underlying issues? What does this remind me of? What is the opposite? Why is it important? What's the hardest or most expensive way to do it? Who has a different perspective on this? And what happens if we don't do it at all? Number 3 is to then develop a creative environment. And John says there's 6 things that make up a creative environment. A creative environment encourages creativity, it places high value on trust among team members and individuality, it embraces those who are creative, focuses on innovation, not just invention, is willing to let people go outside of the box, and appreciates the power of a dream. From here, number 4 is spend time with other creative people. And finally, number 5 is to get out of your own box. No matter who you are, there's immense value in enhancing your creativity. By doing so, it will enhance any of your pursuits, and it can no doubt translate into a life of significance.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
Today's
More
You
No
podcast.